It don't take a crystal ball to know how some stories end. When someone keeps saying opinions like facts, the courts start listening. Southern mutton don't predict nothing, we just watch and write it down. Don't need a crystal ball to see it coming back around. When you state it like a fact and never check it first. Southern mutton, watch it close from the courthouse ground. True, stay patient while the paper getting worse. Same routine, new headline phone. Same bold claims that the record don't want. She speak real loud, no maybe, no seems. Turn opinions into facts like the courtroom clean. I ain't wishing nothing, I just seen the signs. When the words outrun proof, it's a matter of time. History repeat when you don't learn yet. Courts don't care what you meant, just what you said. When confidence louder than evidence be, that's when patterns start explaining things to me. Don't need a crystal ball to see it coming back around. When you speak like a verdict before the truth's found. Southern mutton in the case, boots firm on the tile. We don't chase drama, we just watch the file, yeah. Country rap calm, I don't glow to grin. I just read the docket when it rolled back in. She called it truth, called it just how it is. But courts draw lines where the talking ends. I ain't psychic, I'm observing. Facts don't bend cause a voice is urgent. From testimony tone to the written page. Same outcome when the pattern don't change. Lies like speed, truth like distance. One burns fast, one keeps existing on. Lies like speed, truth like distance. One burns fast, one keeps existing. Don't need a crystal ball, don't need belief. When the law still runs on proof and receipts. Southern mutton watching through the courtroom glass, pointing out lies as they're saying it's facts. Yeah. This ain't prophecy, this ain't hate, just history watching itself repeat. When words get reckless, the courts get busy, and the truth always shows up right on time.
Look, it gave me this. Look how, y'all, don't mind how I look, okay? I have no makeup on. I've got this thing going on my face. I can't put anything on it right now. Um, you have so much to say, says Shauna. Hey, Southern at 5 a.m. short order cook. How is everybody doing? You can hear me, I'm assuming. I was gonna look to see. Don't mind how I look. Seriously, hold on. Let me turn my camera off. There, let's do that for now. um, let me see. Let me look at chat. Let me try to catch up. Hot tea drinker, Jules, Laura, Skynet. You're gonna miss it, Skynet. Donna, how are you? I hope you and your family, I hope you and everybody is doing okay. Miss H, Hillbilly Vagabond. I think I already said hi to Jill. Hey, Shu. Caught alive. Just came in from watching my son play in the sprinkler for about 2 hours. 93 degrees today. And he had goosebumps. You know, it's so funny, like being in the pool, if you, it can be really hot outside. If the wind hits you the right way, yeah, you'll get those goosebumps. Y'all, it was in the 70s here the last couple of days. Like, it's freaking me out. Because normally right now it'd be about 120. Well, the feel, you know, would feel like 120. It would be 105 or whatnot. It's like in the 80s today. Granted, we've had a lot of rain, a lot of storms, but this is very unusual. It's kind of freaking me out. I was talking to somebody who's up north, and they're saying it's like 107 there. And I'm like, what? We're hotter than y'all? I mean, we're cooler than y'all? It's crazy. Donnie, you look beautiful. You're so sweet. That's why you're my friend. Let's do this, says Shauna. Yeah, if I haven't said hi to everybody. Hey, Sharon, you're in South Florida. We're going to be in South Florida. I think we leave 2 weeks from today. actually. Tornadoes, heat wave and tornadoes in Canada. Yeah, we're gonna be in South Florida in a couple weeks. We know it's gonna be hot, but you know, we try to go during the summer. 96 in Philly. Good grief. Well, in PA, I don't know if you're in Philly. Oh yeah, you're in Philly, right? Am I losing my mind? On the prairies. Wheezy, hey everyone. Hey Wheezy. So yeah, so I was messing around with, because sometimes I hate having this on, and so hold on. Now I have to go back. How do I do this? It's already set that way. Oh, I think if I turn my camera back on. Yeah. And then look, it can make me big. Look at the green screen. It's crazy. Right? But yeah, don't mind how I look. I have zero makeup on. I went to run a bunch of errands earlier, went and got a pedicure, and totally forgot I had scheduled a live stream. So hopefully I have everything set up. But this is ridiculous. So I'm going to take me down for now. But I kind of like having I'll leave it up for just a few minutes, whatever, right? I kind of like having a hold on, it's freezing up on me. I like having the green screen behind me, or the virtual background, really is what it is. So you're dealing with the Canadian smoke in Delaware. 98 in Colorado, it's dry. No, Christine. I was someone sent me her latest post that she did. I can't catch up on real time on YouTube. Someone sent me a post that she put, bragging about herself, of course, as she always does. And it's just wild. Wild. All right, so I'm going to go back because this is like freak me out. Hold on. All right, so yeah, it for her to say, and then Katie is like, I don't know if y'all saw Katie's post where she's like, yeah, I'm the source for Katie, blah blah blah. I'm the best thing ever. You have to stay inside due to the smoke from the fires. I am so sorry, y'all. Hey Goose, good to see you. Oh yeah, Christine, I know. I can't believe she still talks to her too. She's been talking to her for a while. They've been talking for a while. There, I'll do that. See if that's better for me. You've got fires in your back. How close is it to you, Sally? Oh my gosh. Y'all, let's just kind of say prayers for all the people that we know are out there. Katie Joy, of course, made a post, made it all about herself, as she always does. Yeah, I think a lot of people think Amy's just as bad as Katie. Southwest Ontario. Yeah, that's where, I had some friends when all this stuff hit in California. When was that? Outside LA or whatnot. That was scary for them. That was so scary for them. Okay, that's freaking me out. The whole. But so I just wanted to come live quick. I would say quick, and then 3 hours later. I wanted to come live because she said something the other day that really it just really got me. Amy did say she wasn't Katie's. Oh, she said she wasn't Katie's source. Oh yeah, that's right. Katie, yeah, Amy says that she's not Katie Joy's source. And Katie has said that for a long time. Um, oh my gosh, the sky is orange. Yeah, I know. I feel so bad for the people in Canada. And then all the people that are bordered to it. I mean, it's just it's scary, y'all. It's scary to think that y'all can, like I said, when they were in California, like people were, I had a friend of mine send me pictures, and apparently it was right by where, very close to where Miranda lives too. And my friends are down in the Palisades, and oh, so they evacuated. They lost a lot of stuff. So when they were sending pictures, I was like, oh my gosh. So I was just, I knew that it was uh had to been close to Miranda too. So it's just scary. Um when it gets really dry here, it gets scary not knowing, and we get winds, and I don't know how far it would carry. But when you just have nothing but open land like that where it can just build and build and then get towards all the residential areas, man, that's scary. So let me see if I can pull these up. Let me see if I have them in the right order. Um, so Katie started to talk about this situation. I cannot go real live time on YouTube. It's so frustrating. So Katie started to talk about this. Of course she did, right? Because it has to do with child abuse and SA and all that good stuff. Hey, Miss January. Hey, Jane. We'll say prayers for all of you that are, you know, in the lines there, that almost said in the line of fire. And I guess that's actually kind of accurate, isn't it? And to think that it's so cool here, like it's scary. It's scary because it just makes me think these weather patterns are scary. Because again, being from Texas, yeah, we all know how, but I work outside in the summers typically. I don't right now, but I always did. So I always know what the weather patterns are going to be in the summer. And even when it would rain, which would be really bad for my business when it rained, I hated it when it rained. I hated rain. And even when it would rain, it would cool off, but not like it's done these last few days. It might cool off for a couple hours, but then boom, it's right back. The humidity comes, and then it goes back to being 100 degrees. It was literally 70 something degrees all day for the last 2 days, and now we're in the 80s. Oh yeah, the cider's cakes. You've been following that? It's awful. Hey, Sherry from Canada. You went to Montana and Oregon. It was so wonderful. Yeah, I have family in Montana and Oregon, actually. We used to go. I don't think she's well, she moved to Washington State, actually, so I guess close enough, right? But they were in Portland, and we'd go visit. I haven't been there in years. So Katie started to follow this, right? And it's funny because, and we'll look at some of the, I captured some of the statements of the comments, and there's a reason why. But yeah, I would love to go to Montana soon. She gave birth more than 17 times, didn't she? Well, I guess 4 sets were twins. I think there's 3 surviving sets of twins. And one, they were born in 2021, and they were born conjoined and at like 20 something weeks. And so they only lived a couple of days. So she's given birth to 4 sets of twins. Crazy. So 16 surviving children. It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Glacier National Park. Yep, we've been there. I was a child, I was a kid. You're not looking forward to this coming summer in Australia. Yeah, I mean, so I always forget that you guys, when it's our summer, it's your winter, basically, isn't it? Yeah, so this story's wild. I've been following on my own, and I've been watching Brian Etten, right? They just do it right. And of course, Katie insulted them and said that, basically it's frustrating to watch them because they interview people that don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're okay, like you do, because they you know what you're talking about. She's saying that I can't, the people they interview on News Nation don't really know. They get these professionals that don't know. You're not a professional, Katie Joy. They're interviewing psychologists, people, legal professionals, all this shit, and Katie is like insulting them. She did it in her video, I believe. I think someone sent me a clip. I don't know if I'll have time to put it up here. Story is so heartbreaking, Bean. 24 weeks old. Oh, it was 2022, Jill, the conjoined twins. Oh, you're from Montana, Yellow? See, it's so wild to me that it's a heat wave up north, like, in Indiana. I mean, north of us, right? Indiana. Oh, it's crazy. Kentucky, I think, is really hot too. Yeah, of course you would insult them. She knows everything. I don't know, but do any of y'all watch? She's British, and her channel is Michelle Walks. She has 2 channels. Michelle Walks. There's another one. She always covered the Sebastian Rogers. Why was I thinking Roberts? Sebastian Rogers case and Summer Wells. I love and she's actually, it's wild because she never really told people what her profession was. I could always tell she knew what she was talking about. She's always right about things. She's just one of those people she's able to set herself aside. She's able to be really objective, and she doesn't jump on sides. She doesn't jump on conspiracy theories. She doesn't go where the money is. She goes where she believes where the truth is. And 96 a day. I lived in Texas for a decade. Yeah, the humidity is awful here. And right now it's not that bad. It's wild. But anyways, Michelle, let me see if I can pull up. Let me pull it up on my phone. What her channel is. Hold on, give me a second. But she's been following this. Michelle After Dark. If any of y'all want to go look her up, you can just type in Michelle After Dark. She's, like I said, she's in the UK. She's in Northern England, and she follows all these cases in the US, but she's very, very, very smart. I like watching her, and she's done a couple videos on this, and her take is very interesting. It's very interesting. So if y'all want to go watch that, Katie Joy would be like, oh my God, I can't believe you're saying such things. But it makes sense if you're able to think objectively and really look at things, look at her viewpoint, you'll see things a little bit differently. But yeah, how did it get unnoticed? And Katie Joy even said, I think she said it in her video, this is just people relaying this to me. I could not get myself to watch her video. I've been working on another video regarding Miranda Derrick. And so I can only take so much Katie Joy. And so I haven't watched her latest videos. She said in her in her comments that she was not like on Instagram, that she didn't think she was going to do a video on this because she's only doing posts on Instagram so she can get people that are familiar with the case and that live there to give her information. And if she does that, she might do a video. So is that why she did a video? Because some yoo-hoos like reached out to her? But nonetheless, she even said that family hasn't spoken out. That's bullshit. I even know that family has spoken out. A few people from family have spoken out. I saw one guy I don't know what his relation is to the family, but he said, "Oh my gosh, if I'd have known it was this bad, we would have stepped in. It wasn't this bad a few years ago. We even bought them a vehicle." So I know she had babies in the hospital. Every single one of them was born in the hospital, and they have medical records. Yeah, yeah, you can't watch her either. Can't watch Katie either. The family said that they dropped touch. I guess it's been a while, but they said it was never this bad and that they don't know how it got this bad. And that if they did, they would have stepped in and helped. Now, what I read something yesterday where they had a case against them in a certain county, right? And they were looking into them, and they were going to face some charges, but they skipped town. They left the county, and that judge dismissed all the charges against them because they couldn't find them. And even Katie said that. It's one thing I can say. She did say, like, look, how did all these counties in Ohio screw up? But the smallest county was able to step in and find them and figure this out. But what I wanted to point out about this really wasn't about that, because I don't like talking about cases I don't know too much about. But I have looked at certain things, and I can say it's just like everything else. I mean, the judge put a gag order on this because he didn't like how media was representing this family. And that's why I said, if you go watch Michelle After Dark, she'll give you a different perspective on it. Is this a good situation? No. But is it what it's been made out to be? I think there's also a no to that. And I think as time goes on, we'll see that. I think they're very mentally ill. They're very, very low IQ, and they're very impoverished. And that's not an excuse. I'm not making excuses for them at all. But there was food in the house. Parts of the house were clean. It's very strange. Yeah, they had a very high level of truancy. It was crazy. So they were investigating them for that. Was that the investigation before and then they skipped town? Or is that how they found them this time because of truancy? Yeah, they were all hospital births. They can't even speak. Yeah, the 18-year-old couldn't even write her name. So it's bad for a while. I mean, how this gets, they did have him in school for a bit, apparently at some point, and they were just very hard to manage, apparently. Like, how do these teachers not like step out and be like, hey? But nonetheless, let's look at what Katie Joy had to say about this. Now, to my understanding, they were trying to serve papers after investigating the truancy, and they had left town already, and the charges dropped due to that. Okay, so it was so why the charges were dropped prior is because they couldn't find them, but the charges were because of truancy. Okay. And I've heard different things about them finding them because of this warrant on Gary Jr. for indecent exposure. Like, I've heard that it was because of that, and I've also heard it wasn't because of that. But again, this is like everything. We don't know yet. Let's just be honest on that. There's so many things we do not know yet. And people put out stuff, and that's what's dangerous about Katie Joy, that aren't always accurate. That's why I like Michelle's channel, because she's very good about, look, we don't know yet. And she's very good at noticing small details. She's a psychologist, and she never told people that. And when she was like doing these cases, like the Sebastian Rogers and Summer Wells and other cases that she would cover, she would talk about things, the medical perspective, like the psychological, like the mental health perspective of it. And people were like, what do you know? What do you know? You're just a low life, whatever they wanted to call her. And she was like, yeah, you probably don't know what my background is. And when she listed her background, I could always tell that she was highly educated, but I could say I was even more surprised to find out how highly educated she was. And then you got someone like Katie Joy, like Bean says, who knows everything. Yeah, but is asking for info from her followers. But Katie Joy, who's not educated, other than as a Spanish degree, an associate's degree, and I'm not knocking an associate's degree. I'm not mocking any type of education. I've been through it, right? Oh, you haven't missed too much tripping gauntlet. I haven't even started talking about what we're going to talk about. Katie Joy started to talk about this case here. And so I was just going to go over what her post was. We were just kind of chatting. You know how I do it. And that's another thing. I get that some people don't like my live streams because I chat and I get distracted. That's how my live streams are. That's how live streams in general are. Right? Like it's not a fluid thing typically. I mean, it's fluid, but not fluid what you're used to in my videos. So if you don't like the live streams, sometimes I'll make a video about it, sometimes I won't. But if you don't like this format, I'm sorry. I don't really know what to tell you because I'm not going to change it. It helps when I come in here and get to talk to y'all. It helps a lot with my just having to watch Katie's stuff. So the video I'm working on now, and I'm trying to do it in a totally different format. And it's about, somebody brought it up in chat and I was like, you know what? I need to do a video about that again. It's about all the times that that Miranda asked Katie Joy to stop talking about her, that what she's saying isn't true. Thank you, Jill. I enjoy chatting with y'all. And I get it. I know. Thanks, Donna. Y'all are like family. Like whenever I come in here, it's like, okay, some of us have been talking for a really long time. So I understand that some people don't like this format, but instead of just telling me off about it, I don't understand why people have to be such assholes. Like, I just don't get it. You liked the video I did with the voice. Oh, I know. So I'm going to start doing them that way. I'm going to go ahead and do them that way to where I do a voiceover, because somebody left a message and said something like that they started listening to it when they were driving, and then they realized, wait, this isn't a good video to listen to while I'm driving. I was like, you know what? I listen so much to everything when I'm like live streams, videos. I do it whenever I'm walking. So a lot of times, I'm not going to look at my phone when I'm walking. I'll trip and bust my ass. When I'm cleaning, when I'm doing stuff with the dogs, when I'm cooking, like I'm doing 8 million different things. I cannot sit still. So I started to think, I was like, you know what? I would prefer it to be read. So I'm going to read it all from here on out. And they're getting good, y'all. We're not going to talk about any of those today. I'll go live tomorrow and we'll catch up where we were. But I will, I'll do that. So I'm glad. So thank you for saying that. A lot of people, not a lot, but there were comments saying that they appreciated that. It just stopped. How a short order cookie just drive. All of a sudden it got silent. Yeah. I mean, the only thing, and so I figured, I wanted to get them out there. That was my whole thing, is I wanted to just get them out there. And I was like, I cannot spend any more time on these videos. Like again, like she infuriates me. But I got to a point where I was like, okay, I think I might as well do it. And I just won't do as many at a time. I'll do like 30 at a time, and we'll just get through them all, because it's very important to get through them. Especially as we're getting to the points we're getting at, and we're getting closer to when Katie Joy is going to be filing. She's got like another month and a half for her to really get her motions filed. So I don't know what her strategy is. I'm sorry if that's loud, y'all. I don't know what her strategy is, but she'll be filing stuff soon. And it's, Shauna, there's some people that think there's something wrong with me chit-chatting. I don't know. I guess I'm just there for them, right? But anyways, so I'm doing another video. It might be a while before I get it out, but I think what I'm going to do is do the video and then do it as a premiere. So that way I can chat with y'all in the chat while it plays a video, and then we can talk about it after. But it is every time that Miranda made a statement, that Miranda spoke out, and what Katie Joy's reaction was, and how bad it was, and how we can see why Miranda eventually just got off social media. And Katie Joy is like, I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything. What are you talking about? I haven't done anything. So let's read this again. This is about the Siders case, right? And she's only done 3 posts on her Instagram about it. This was the second one she put up. I wanted to highlight some stuff because, as we know, and like I'm doing the video about regarding Miranda, Katie Joy took it upon herself to label Miranda as a victim. Now, I know that her family came out and said she's a victim of a cult, so I do get that Miranda's family came out first. Katie Joy hopped on board, and Katie Joy started what she does best, where she's inciting all this panic, right? Yeah, right. If I didn't interact, people would be mad. Yeah, it's like I can't win, right? Yeah, a reminder is important, and also, a reminder of what she did and said to Miranda. And it's putting me in a situation where, as I read this, as I go back through all the posts, and then I go back through what Miranda said and Katie Joy's reaction to it, it's infuriating. It's infuriating. It's going to piss y'all off, and it needs to be reminded. Some of it is in the amended complaint. I'm charming until I start cussing, Ruth. There's times that Katie Joy just makes me throw out F-bombs, so I need to be more careful about that. But other than that, thank you for thinking I'm charming. So Katie Joy's talking about the Siders case. What did I just see about the Turpin girls? Yeah, she doxed Turpin girls. What she did with the Turpin girls was sick. And I don't even remember the details about it, but I remember just being sickened by it. And she's comparing this to the Turpin case, and she should. She's also comparing this, y'all, to Michelle Duggar for having so many children. It is not even remotely the same. It's not even remotely the same. Oh, for fuck's sake, is right, Ruth Carroll. Like, it's not even remotely the same. It's a whole different situation of screwed up. So here's what she wrote. Oh my God. So just a reminder. Oh, well, we'll talk about it when we get there. I'm looking for any information my community has on Elizabeth and Gary Siders. Why? So you can just spread misinformation? Oh, I think I saw. Let me get into that in a bit, because I don't know if what I'm going to say is true. So I want to make sure that what I say is true. But when it comes to the information that Katie Joy puts out, there's a lot of people that are able to debunk it. And nobody listens to those people that come out and say anything. Like we were talking about Amy and all that earlier. Anyways, okay. I'm looking for any information my community has on Elizabeth and Gary Siders. I know y'all can't read this. If you're on your cell phone, it's going to be so tiny. Most of you know the story. Law enforcement executed a search warrant in Vinton County, Ohio, and found 16 kids living in inhumane conditions. They were covered in feces, bugs, and at least 2 required ICU care. That just breaks my heart. One of the children was intubated, 2 life flighted. Now, I don't know if that's accurate information, but I do know that 2 of them, yes, were in serious condition. The media has focused heavily on Elizabeth being a child bride, yet her husband is only 3 years older than her. This is not a case of full-grown adult coercing a child. She was 13 when she was with this man. She was 15 when they got married, and he was 18, right? Is that right? We don't have the context of the family dynamics and if religion plays a role in this. Exactly, Jill B. I mean, that's the thing. She'll just start. Anyways, we all know. Family who are estranged are yapping about what they do not know. What the fuck does that mean? They're yapping about what they do not know. What they do not know is what they do not know. If they evaded law enforcement for so long, don't you think they evaded family also, you piece of shit? Authorities are tight-lipped and say nothing. Of course they're going to say nothing. There's 16 children that this is surrounding around. It's not for... Katie's going to start she'll start doxing their names and all kinds of crap. I heard her attorney say that Elizabeth told them that children are a gift from God. She was pregnant every single year and has 16 kids who are alive, twins who died after birth, and she's pregnant with her 19th child. I want to know about this family's faith. Hey, Lamb Chop. I know. KJ acts like she knows. And this is where it starts to piss me off. I want to know about this family's faith. This screams cult. If you've been watching this is not scream cult. This screams a very sick family dynamic who the two elderly in the home, one was released from jail because he's in such critical condition health-wise. He's in such bad condition health-wise. And then the mother, they believe they both have dementia, is my understanding. So you've got two elderly people living in this home with dementia that maybe at one point they were the ones that were keeping the house clean and they were the ones keeping a routine. And now they both come down with dementia. And then what? They don't know. They don't remember how to do these things. They're not doing these things. And then the two parents of all the children, it just turns into what it turns into, because it has not always been this bad. It is a case of it slowly getting worse. That has been said. Okay. But Katie Joy wants to make this a fucking cult. This screams cult. No, it doesn't. It screams mental health. It screams, poverty and child neglect, possible child abuse. If there's no physical abuse, they might have been abused if they were starving, but apparently there was food in the home. There were signs that they had cooked because there's electricity in the home and there's running water. I'm not sticking up for this family. It's gross. It's sick. If you looked at the pictures, it'll make you nauseous. Okay. Yeah, KJ's yapping about what she doesn't know. I want to know about this family's faith. This screams cult. And a cult does not, you do not have to be in a cult you don't have to be in a religious setting for there to be a cult. A family dynamic of 5 people, and there's one parent that is overbearing and controlling, that family dynamic can be a cult. That is true. Okay? That is true. So it does not have to be because of their faith. Hey, Tennessee Nana, how are you? Filth does not scream cult. Exactly. She needs us to be a cult. And then what she can do, go break down this family dynamic. I think law enforcement, CPS, and all the good shit, they're going to be in there and they're going to be breaking down this family dynamic and try to get them back on track. For anybody that thinks, this pisses me off if you follow the Gabby Jacobson case, these people are like, her son needs to be removed. CPS is failing them. People do not realize how difficult it is for them to take children away. Same thing with the Duggar case, right? They're going to separate them. They're going to put them where they need to be, depending upon the stage of, how severe it is. But their goal in nearly every state is reunification. They don't want these children to be permanently away from their family. So they're going to do everything they can in these situations to get the children the mental health that they need, get them healthy again physically. But while they're doing that, they're also going to be working on the parents. Okay? They're going to determine whether they are even like at a mental level to be able to raise these children. And if not, we'll see what they do with that. But let's say that they find that they are capable, then they're going to help them clean everything up and they're going to help them get back with their children. They just will. That's just how it works. I don't give a shit what people say about, it's really, really hard. And this is a very severe situation, probably one of the most severe. And they will still be working on reunification. Their case is going to take a lot longer. So I don't want to hear any of this BS about, oh, they're going to be taken away forever. Some of them might. We just don't know. Okay. We just don't know what they're going to find when they go in and start doing the investigation. The picture we saw of the house, it could be that they went in there and they overturned everything. I'm not saying that this house was not fucking disgusting and gross And these kids never should have been in that environment. They never should have been in that environment. These children never should have been overlooked. They should not have had any health issues the way that they did. They should not be living in feces. It is awful. And the fact that CPS never stepped in because they kept evading them. So they obviously knew enough to evade. So, but again, we don't know what's happening is my point. So we can't make all these accusations, okay? But Katie Joy is saying it screams cult. It's a family dumbass. Wait, like a dumbass family, or it's a family dumbass Katie Joy? Yeah, and it could be a cult, like the dad who, was outside for indecent exposure. Like he could be controlling this whole situation. But we're about to get into why I'm pissed about Katie's post. Okay, Grandma's Facebook is filled with creepy Jesus photos. Oh yes, Grandma and Grandpa were arrested. I think Grandpa has dementia. It seems clear Gary Siders Jr. is the mastermind. I'm not okay, this is it. This is where I lost my shit. Are y'all ready for this? I'm not willing to call Elizabeth a victim. She won't call herself a victim. I'm not willing to call Elizabeth a victim. She won't call herself a victim. That's why I did this whole live stream, y'all. Because how many times has Miranda screamed, "I'm not a victim, Katie Joy. I'm not a victim. I am fine. I am fine." Okay? Another thing that came up, and maybe I can put it on here. I'm going to try, because that will be something we should listen to after this. Try to remind me if we have enough time. If not, we'll listen to it another time. But I don't know, do y'all remember hearing the call between Miranda and the cops? Miranda's family was saying that she was a missing person. They knew where she was living. They knew where she was. They were saying that she was kidnapped, and they were reporting her as a missing person. So Miranda was on the phone with a cop, and he was like, she's like, "No, I'm fine. I just chose not to go to my grandpa's funeral." And she explained herself, and he said, "Okay, well, we're at 9/10 of the way of making you a missing person. Is there any way we can come see you?" And she's like, "Yes, please do." Basically, "Yes, please do. Please, yeah, let me explain myself." So obviously this police officer went and met with her and did not think that she was in any danger, did not think that she was a missing person, and nothing further happened with that, okay? She has said over and over, she has said, I can't tell you how many, like I said, I'm doing a video of all the times that Miranda spoke out. Okay, whenever she made statements, and she said she's not a victim, but yet Katie kept calling her a victim. "We're going to save you, Miranda. We understand that you don't know what you're doing. You're too stupid to know that you're a victim, but I'm here. I'm going to save you. One day you're going to thank me. One day you're going to thank your family." Right? And so here she's saying that she's not willing to call Elizabeth a victim because she won't call herself a victim. Yeah, and how can she know that she won't? Wasn't she arrested like a week ago? Give it time for information to come out about the family, and maybe she will call herself a victim. I know. I mean, look, if she was a victim, they're not going to say immediately. Even Katie Joy says this. "Oh, well, they don't know they're victims. They don't know they're victims. Anybody who's in a cult doesn't know they're victims because they're brainwashed." And now you're saying, "Oh, well, she won't call herself a victim, so I'm not going to call her one." I thought if you're in a cult and you're brainwashed, you're not going to call yourself a victim. What the fuck is wrong with you, Katie Joy? You're such a piece of shit. You are such a hypocrite. These are my opinions. She's a hypocrite. An absolute piece of shit hypocrite. I'm sorry. But here, this woman who very clearly could be a victim, we don't know. We don't know what the investigation is going to tell. So who can tell me about their faith? This is what she's wanting to know from people. Yeah, KJ can't know that. She knows nothing about that girl. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with this. These kids need to be all tended to medically, which they were. The ones that are in worse condition, that they're going to be taken care of. They're going to be they're going to be in the system, in a foster home, whatever that may look like. And then they're going to start, there's going to be an investigation this entire time. CPS is going to be, investigating. Law enforcement has investigation going on. It's a family, not a cult. Yeah, okay, Katie's a dumbass. It could also be a dumbass family, which that's a harsh thing to say. They're uneducated, clearly. Their IQs are low. So I didn't think you were calling them a dumbass family, but I caught on that you were saying it was a family dumbass. Katie's a dumbass. And she's also saying that she's also mocking Elizabeth's attorney, apparently. Until Elizabeth's attorney says otherwise and shows evidence, she has charges against her. But there is Stockholm syndrome that could be keeping. Oh, Jill B., I'm glad you said that. You're going to see something here in a second. Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to look for very specialized care for these children. These children are going to be extremely difficult to handle, because I hated that they used the word feral, because they're like relating them to feral animals. And I think that's so unfair. They're children. They're humans. They're unruly because they are unsocialized, right? They don't understand probably any concept of other. Some of them have been around other children and other adults at some point in their life, but the younger ones probably have no concept of outside people and how the outside world operates. However, it was said that they had iPhones, and some of them were able to were on social media, like viewing social media. What age group that was, I don't know, but they had cell phones, y'all. So anyways, so who can tell me about their faith? This is some quiverful nonsense. Is it, Katie? Is it? Is this quiverful? I wish Suzanne was in here right now. I would love to hear what Suzanne would have to say about this. Suzanne, if you're listening in the bushes by chance and you want to peek your head in, or if you're in the replay, if you want to give me your comment about this. But Katie Joy is saying that this is some quiverful nonsense. They lied about homeschooling. Okay. The kids had no education. That's very clear. Please, if you have details, drop some comments or send me a DM. Email me at, and then she gives her tips hotline. Tips email. I'm surprised she doesn't have a tips hotline because she's so freaking into herself. I think people have heard about cases historically that use that term, like Jeannie Wiley. Yeah. Gosh, I forgot about those cases. Quiverful? Where did she steal that from? 3 sets of living twins. It's crazy, isn't it, Sarah Lopez? And aren't all the sets of twins under the age of 6, I think? I think she had 3 consecutive pregnancies that were with twins. I guess maybe 4, since one of them was the conjoined twins that didn't survive. Yeah, Katie needs to find more things to cover her legal bills. I'm not here to be true crime. I want to know what the cult this is, because I know it's in there somewhere. Yeah, she said that email was hijacked. Yep. Hacked, and I said hijacked, but same thing, right? Hacked and taken over, she said. Yep, when all the things were going against her, yep, it was hacked. Somebody sent out all those emails. But in her defense, yeah, Suzanne talks about the quiverful movement. Oh no, I don't think it means they're literate either, Shu. Yeah. I don't think the social media stuff necessarily means they were literate. No. Voice dictation is used by functionally. Yeah, right. It might have helped them to some very small degree, but again, we don't even know if they truly did have social media and how much they were watching or listening to. Like the 18-year-old couldn't even write her name. I was told, my understanding of what I listened to yesterday, there's 3 surviving sets of twins. So that means she would have been, if that's true, then the 4th set, then she would have been pregnant with 4 sets of twins. The conjoined twins being 1. But it was News Nation that I heard that on, I think. Was it? No, maybe not. I don't know. It was somewhere where I heard them say, and they listed the ages of the sets of twins. That's why I was surprised, because I thought there was only 2 sets, 2 surviving sets too. But they listed the ages of the surviving sets. Maybe they included the wrong set in there and like made them living when they're not. I don't know. Yeah, I think she's had 20 pregnancies total. I don't trust News Nation. I have to have Katie Joy on there. But the funniest thing is, I don't know if you're in here when I was saying this earlier, Katie Joy was talking about how they don't have good sources. When she was one of their sources, she said that the people they interview aren't, just don't know what they're talking about, basically. So let's look at some of the comments that were under there. These probably aren't. Okay, now this particular one, hold on. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can. This particular one, somebody sent it to me. They probably got it from Discord. I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and credit Discord on this. I don't know if that's where it came from. I haven't been in that Discord in a few weeks. But she deleted this comment because it's from Facebook. So it's not, I went and looked at Instagram to see if this comment was still there. Oh, wait, hold on. This isn't the one, but, anyways, Katie having to argue with her people. Somebody says, wasn't she, but she's the original victim. Okay. See, this is how Katie Joy talks around shit, but she's the original victim. Pregnant at 13. She grew up with abuse. Her brain never got to even develop and learn what's normal. She's not claiming victim because she doesn't even seem to know what normal is or realize how wrong what has happened to her when she was still a developing child. So true, right? She grew up being groomed and brainwashed by the grandparents. And then I didn't get the rest of that because, again, I think this was sent to me. I mean, this was sent to me and Katie was like, she wasn't pregnant at 13. So because she wasn't pregnant at 13 and she was pregnant at 15, that makes it better, Katie Joy. So because she was pregnant at 15, she's not a victim. This is the kind of shit Katie Joy does. And it's infuriating. These are all going to be out of order. I'm trying to find the main one. Let me see if I can find the main one where it looks like it's from Facebook. Oh gosh, they're all out of order. We'll eventually get to it. But basically, somebody said, Elizabeth is a victim. And she shot back and said, she's no victim. She's no victim. How the hell can you say, yeah, since when does she care about details? Yeah, I think that's why they put a gag order on it. That does make sense, because things were getting out of hand. There were so many rumors that were flying and things were being said. And, they put a gag order on it to stop that from happening. Because this attorney is saying, look, y'all have this wrong. Y'all have this wrong. The first thing, she didn't even care about being arrested. Maybe she couldn't comprehend what this means. She didn't care about being arrested. She didn't care about what was going to happen to her. All she wanted to know was about her children. All she wanted to know was about her children. And to me, that says something. Doesn't say a lot, but it says something. the other channel you were watching said she had another child before she was married that had died, married at 15. So if she did, she would have been pregnant at 13 or 14. Yeah, okay. Okay. So she was pregnant at 13. She just didn't get married at 13. We know she was married at 15. Yes. Did you see her picture? Blonde, healthy, and love. Yes. It was wild. Yep. Hey, Peg Clan. How are you? Katie Joy always has to be right. Exactly. She always has to be right. So this guy says, and Katie Joy did not respond to this. This is on her Instagram, and I don't know if she deleted this one. But you know, I'm surprised she didn't respond. But this, he says, or she, looks like a woman. As a psychologist, I see clear Stockholm syndrome, though I am not diagnosing her. Even if she was 15 and not 13, she was a child. Humans' brains are not totally developed until 24 years old. I've heard different takes on that. Yes, that is correct. She was most likely brainwashed and abused by these people. It's not okay that kids were so abused and neglected, but I feel she is also a victim here. Katie didn't even acknowledge that. Why? Because Katie would say you're wrong. She would tell a psychologist that she's wrong. Okay? We know that she would. We're getting more storms, y'all. This says, you're very uneducated on certain topics and for some reason fixated on the age gap and legality of the two being together. And she was 13 with her first. He knew this. Okay. So, regardless of, again, we don't know all the facts. And this could or could not be true, but this is just what's being said here. Okay. In Katie Joy's chat, in her comments. And she was 13 with her first. He knew this. They took her from her family. She wasn't given. And okay, so she wasn't given away by her parents. That's what this person says. Katie says that she was given away by her parents. This person says differently. And was groomed by the family. This runs way deeper and sicker than a cult. Surely you understand Stockholm syndrome. And furthermore, other people I've heard speak on this entire horrific situation, we cannot comprehend how dark and deep this really goes. And honestly, I don't think I want to know. And it could be very deep and dark and go, be a really deep rabbit hole, or it could be very basic, plain and simple, and just a very horrific situation within one family. We don't know. And then this person says, leave them alone. Those poor children have been through enough trauma already. And at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if the mother was SA'd repeatedly and gotten pregnant that way. I also think she's a victim as well and could tell by her eyes she had bruises on her arms and wrists during her arraignment. It's just too sensitive for content. And I agree with this person. This is what Katie Joy loves. Look what she did. Like someone said earlier, the Turpin kids, right? She doxed the latest Duggar that was SA'd. She put that child out there. This person obviously knows that that's what could come next with Katie. I too, and Gravy says, I too think mom is a victim. And look, all of our opinions and thoughts are valid. That's what Katie Joy cannot fucking understand. She cannot understand that people's thoughts and opinions are valid. Just because they're different than hers does not mean that they couldn't be right. Two things can be right sometimes at the same time. Them getting married at 15 and 18 is hardly horrific. I mean, think about back in the 20s. If you weren't married by the time you were 16, you were almost considered, old. Like if you were 18 and not married, you were certainly old. What was the term they used? Oh, a spinster. A spinster. Spinster? Is that what the term they used? Like an old unwanted hag? But I mean, times have changed. Obviously, this is not normal for this day and age. It's very unreal. I don't understand how anybody could give consent for their 15-year-old child to be married. However, it does happen in some of these religious sectors, and so it could be that this is a religious thing. But when do they go to church? You've seen the state of them. Okay, did the grandparents attend before they were, became ill or, got dementia? You were on the shelf. Old maid. They didn't always live with the grandparents, Purple Rose. And that's another thing. It's normal in the Appalachians, and that's where I haven't watched too much regarding Appalachian lifestyle. And that's another thing I was seeing in comments. People were like, look, this is normal around here. And Katie Joy, once again, is going to step outside of her boundaries, and she's going to start insulting something that is the norm. Just because it's not the norm in her area or arena, she's going to insult people where it is the norm. That's just what she does. She does not take the time to investigate details on this. They've been shut in since COVID, and then all the twins. To have, it's just so crazy. Like, what are the chances for somebody to have so many to have so many pregnancies that, are multiples? To have that many, obviously it runs in the family, but I guess most people don't get pregnant this many times to have that many twins. How many sets of twins do the Duggars have? Does anybody know about the Duggars? I know nothing about the Duggars. How many sets of twins did Michelle have? So this person basically said, leave them alone, and I agree with them. She's obviously a victim herself. Trauma is no joke. Her whole existence is probably a blur. Exactly. And so all these people are telling Katie Joy, like, no, I see her as a victim. Katie went back and deleted some of these. She had 2 sets of twins. 2 sets. Thank y'all. She was a child when she was married to him. She was a child who gave birth at 13. You're just interested in content. Vile. See, when we're able to catch these comments, when we're able to catch them, we can see what people truly think. Katie goes back and deletes them. So when people go back and look, it looks like everybody's on her side, that everybody is sharing her viewpoint. There's no Planned Parenthood or a bus line near these people. Thank you, Purple Rose. Yeah. And see, that's another thing is, honestly, Purple Rose, I don't know how familiar you are with the Appalachian lifestyle. My guess is this type of living conditions is not that unheard of. Now, this might be to the extreme, but when you really look at it, and that's why I like Michelle's channel, Michelle After Dark. I'm telling y'all, if you're not subbed to her, consider doing so. If you like true crime, I love her take on things. She never jumps in with an opinion. She always waits for details to come out, for things to be. She'll give her thoughts about it from experiences or other cases or whatnot. But even though she lives in the UK, she understands that this is a lifestyle that is not known to many Americans. That we don't understand that this is probably not that unusual. This could be an extreme even for them, but maybe not as far of an extreme as, as these entitled Americans are going to look at it and see. Your grandpa was number 12 of 19 kids. She had 3 sets of twins and a set of triplets. Oh my word. Peg clan. Ohio still has underage marriage, so it's legal there to marry, I guess, if there's a parent's consent. Or do you not have to have the parents' consent? And there's campaigning now to change it. The bill keeps getting stalled. Interesting. Duggar's second and third were twin boys and girl. Next set was way later, two boys. Appalachian culture is very different from anywhere else. Yes, now that I do know, but I don't know the details on it. Like I haven't watched many things about it. Now I did watch YouTube channel where this guy was going into the Appalachians, and he was going into these communities that were, the population was like 20 people type thing. It was very interesting. And when they would first encounter them, they were very standoffish and, they were scared. But once they realized that these people weren't a threat, they became very willing to help. It was almost like they were willing to give the shirt off of their back, even though they didn't have it to give. Like you could, like maybe it's different from community to community out there. I don't know, but I do remember seeing that going, man, there's such a taboo. There's, people like Katie Joyce put names on these people. Okay, look at this next comment, y'all. Yeah, they looked very ill. I truly believe she herself was held captive. Sorry, y'all, my dogs are in here. I truly believe she herself was held captive. Look at the bruises around her wrists when she got arrested. Looks like she's been restrained. Also, first thing she asked about was about when arrested wasn't herself, but her kids. This is Katie Joy's fucking response to this, y'all. God, I hate this woman. I cannot stand her, y'all. I just cannot stand her. I was arrested once in my life. I promise that bruising from handcuffs and restraints are normal. I had bruises and scratches. I was 25. This woman is clearly malnourished. Clearly has health issues. She has to be anemic beyond belief, right? She has to have so many other health disorders that would cause bruising. So somebody is just stating, it looks to me like she's been held captive because she has so many bruises on her. So when they put the handcuffs on her, she looked really bruised. But maybe it wasn't from the handcuffs. Maybe it was because she was in restraints. Maybe she is essayed. This is just people saying their thoughts. And Katie has to make it about herself and say, I was arrested once in my life. I promise that bruising from handcuffs and restraints are normal. I had bruises and scratches. I was 25. She is, y'all. And this person says, I always see the good in people. As a mom to 3 littles under the age of 4.5, this haunts me. And then somebody obviously said something about they look like they're on drugs. And Katie says, I haven't heard anything about drugs. And I haven't either. I don't know if anybody else has yet. I don't think that was the case. Maybe the junior, maybe he had an issue with drugs. But do I think both parents and the grandparents did? I don't, but I wouldn't be, I guess, nothing would surprise me at this point that comes out, but I think that's the least likely. Yeah, her hair was, she looked very dirty. I know, right? It's all about her, and her comparison is irrelevant. Exactly. The Siders feel different. A big family living in a beat-up house with kids skipping school may be not unusual, but being confined to a room, Appalachia has a lot of need, but this feels different. If you watch Michelle's video and some others that I watched, they're starting to realize that maybe these kids were not confined to a room because they had a window that was operational. The windows in the windows were not locked down. There were no locks on the doors. Now, they all might have had to sleep in one room, and maybe the kids were not seen outside, so they might have been confined to the house. But again, we don't know all the details, right? We just don't know the details yet. We've seen pictures. Some asshole, did y'all know this? That some creator went and walked through the house. These people still live there. This is a crime scene. There was crime tape around it. Even though we don't like the way it looks and it's deplorable and it's gross and it's nasty and it's unsanitary and it's unlivable, this is still their home, even though they were renting this house. Where's the landlord in this shit? The landlord not see this? So that's why I liked Michelle. She made some good points about what the house looked like. and what it kind of said to her. And I appreciate her point of view because she's not calling them evil and pieces of shit. She's calling them a product of, and maybe not the junior, I don't know, but she's basically saying a product of their upbringing, a product of their culture, of their community, right? Every story has KJ and herself in it. It's astounding, right, Michelle? Yeah, or people disagree with her, but then she just blocks them. It's not even that they're just saying their own point of view. They might have just been extremely poor, uneducated, and malnourished. And it could be that they're just an extreme for their community, right? And that it is really bad, that even some of them would be like, yeah, this is really, really bad. But we just don't know that. Oh, I'm about to see my neighbor get pissed off, y'all. I'm watching out my window and he's trying to exit the driveway, his driveway. Anyways, I'll shut up. I know, like they were renting. And then Katie says, I understand. Trust me, I'm sure she's been abused or her husband. Oh, by her husband. But that doesn't make her responsibility to her children go away legally. So Katie Joy, who is an advocate for women of DV, who has said that she understands in these DV situations, you can't escape. And a lot of times, just like this other person said, Stockholm syndrome, okay? But in a DV situations, sometimes it's impossible for them to leave for different reasons. And sometimes, many times, they go back to their abuser. Okay? And in a lot of situations, unfortunately, an abused person, if the husband wants the children to live below them and not be fed like them, if he doesn't want them to live in the conditions that they live in, he wants them to live in squalor while they live, have clean bedding and a bed, but the kids have to live, sleep on the floor or in dog cages. Some of these stories are out there. They're sadly true stories. Just because she didn't do anything about it, we don't know why she didn't do anything about it. Was she so abused that she was forced to live just like the children did? Was she in the confined areas with the children? We don't know. So for Katie to say she's an advocate of DV, this bitch doesn't know shit about it. And it only when it suits her narrative does she know about it. Oh, you were born in the Appalachian area? In Kentucky. Interesting. You think the house was in trust and the landlord had passed away? Oh, okay, that's interesting. They're not saying she shouldn't be held legally responsible for her children. They're saying she's a victim, right? Why is she talking about being held accountable legally? Obviously, she will be. They're going to do an investigation. See, this is what I hate about Katie Joy. She says all this shit up front. I can't stand it. I understand. Trust me. I'm sure she's been abused by her husband, but that doesn't make her responsibility to her children go away legally. When if you're a victim of DV, yeah, it kind of does, Katie Joy. Because she has no say-so. How the hell is she going to escape with 16 kids? The very first thing, apparently, that she asked was about her kids and if they were okay. Not about what was going to happen to her, but what was going to happen to her kids. If she ever wanted to leave, she would have had to leave her 16 children there. Get a brain, Katie Joy. Get a brain. It's gone. You have totally destroyed your brain. you're just a piece of I can't, y'all. I'm sorry when I cuss. This is what, did y'all see how normal I was until I start reading these? I didn't start throwing F-bombs. I wasn't calling her names. I can't handle it. Can't help myself. However, she'd been out and about. I don't care if you fear death. You protect your baby. Forget about letting 20 suffer like this, says somebody that's on Katie Joy's side. And I get it. Look, if someone came in my chat and said, no, I think that the mom needs to be held responsible, I'd say, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. You're absolutely entitled to your opinion. Let's wait. And I'd also say, let's kind of hold back until we see more of what's going to come out. She could have been abused by her own kids. See, she tries to say that she's a DV survivor. I don't believe Katie Joy for a second on that. And I don't like to ever underestimate anybody's level of being a victim. Okay, but we've watched Katie Joy victimize victims all the time. She's victimizing this victim right now. Katie Joy is making her a victim of Katie Joy. Okay, so this woman is unfortunately now a victim of Katie Joy. Yeah, and so Marlene says, being a DV survivor, unless you haven't been in that circumstance, no one else understands. It is horrible. Not only are you physically abused, it is the mental abuse that goes with it. Yes, I mean, now, let's say somebody has 16 kids. They want to escape. Then what? It's just like whenever you see these women who want to escape the Amish, for instance, they have to leave their children behind. And any of these other very strong religious situations, right? They've had to leave their kids behind. So this person says, very sad situation, poor kids, but she might not call herself a victim and still be a victim. Cults tend to be misogynistic and authoritarian. And Katie says, doesn't change her responsibility to her kids. And at the time I took this screenshot, 38 people agreed with her, but 51 people agreed with the person ahead of her. Absolutely. I was only talking about the fact that you aren't willing to call her a victim. And then somebody says it changes the consequences. So these people are like, why aren't you willing to call her a victim? She very well could be. Until you're in that situation, you don't know what you'll do. And again, we have to keep in mind, she did not grow up the way privileged Katie Joy did. Okay? Their lifestyle, their existence, their level of understanding is only what they've experienced. That's it. Katie Joy, she knows everything. She needs to shut up, says Brittany. I agree. And then there's the shame of it too, Ruth Carroll says. Maybe mom was given fertility drugs. Last 4 births being twins makes me wonder. It's insane. That's why I was like, I don't, and so Michelle Duggar had 19 kids, right? And so 4 out of the 19 were twins. So she had 2 sets of twins out of all those kids. But to have so many consecutive pregnancies that were multiples in this situation is crazy, huh? I think I misread that last comment or misinterpreted. Hold on, I don't know if I can go back, but I think I misread that last comment or misinterpreted their meaning. Maybe they're agreeing that this woman is likely victimized. She sure doesn't look like she's been living happy. Very sad situation. Poor kids. Hold on. And then somebody says to Katie Joy, what an irresponsible way to approach this. The dynamics are inevitably very complex and very important to understand. With the attitude you're showing here, it's better you stay away from this. Can we give this Sabina Vondo a round of applause, please? Like, seriously, standing O. She's likely a victim of abuse if her parents are now arrested. I think it's his parents, right? You mentioned grandparents, but not sure if you meant the kids' grandparents or hers. She probably grew up horribly too. That doesn't at all excuse her, even 0.001% for what she did. And there is some level of responsibility. I get that. But if you're so indoctrinated, if you're so abused, if you're so brainwashed, you can't do anything about it. That is why these people telling her that she's being irresponsible with this approach is so damn true. It's so true. It's so irresponsible. And she's going to try to relate it to a cult. I really wish that Suzanne was listening today. You had an employee that had twins, then triplets. Short order cook were they on fertility meds? Oh, really, Sarah? Listening to an OB talk about Michelle and thought it was odd that Michelle didn't have more multiples. Did this family live back in one of the haulers? Not exactly easy to travel in those haulers, especially with large families. Wheezy, I'll be honest with you. I have not looked into the story that much. I personally have only heard certain things and watched certain things, but I never did look at the county that they live in and where they live at. But it makes me want to go do that later. And we'll get more information as time goes on. Thank you for the round of applause there, Short Order Cook. I would personally think that she was fleeing one bad situation into another, but we can't actually know until she talks about what has happened to her. Right. What is her level of I don't want to say level of education, because they said that she was out of school in high school. Maybe if she even made it to high school. But what was her level of comprehension? Right. They lived in the least populated county. I'm starting to sound like an advocate. Katie should take notes. She wasn't on fertility meds, as I remember. It's so crazy that she was that, just pregnant nonstop. I mean, that goes for Michelle Duggar too. And Michelle Duggar looks amazing for, having so many kids. I don't want to say amazing because I'm not a fan of Michelle Duggar, but you know what I'm saying. I had a family that I taught. They had 10 kids. 9 were biological. I think he was the oldest. He was adopted from China. And those kids were the most polite, well-behaved, loving children. And I had taught hundreds, if not into the, thousands. And they'd get out of their big Mercedes van. And you could tell it was very structured though. And I don't know, people always want to assume abuse and assume this or that. And, I just don't know. They were Mormon. And they kind of they each had a role to play. They each had a level of responsibility over a certain age. And so you would see the oldest one get out. They would be leading, and they had one set of twins, but they'd get out. The oldest would get out and they would lead one of the younger ones out. And then the next oldest would get out and they'd be leading out one of the younger ones too, if that makes sense. And then the mom would get the second to youngest. And then here would come the dad with the infant. And they all sat and watched the other one's class and were very well behaved. It was almost unreal because I'm used to kids being kids. And these kids weren't really being kids, but what they were being was they were being polite. They were still being kids. Like when they got in with me or whatever, they were being kids, but you could tell they were scared to kind of act out. But, when there's 10 of you, what do you do? So that's the largest family I'd ever, um, really worked with. Considering both of Michelle's sets of twins were fraternal, I can see why you'd expect more given the number of pregnancies. Yeah, I can see how that makes sense. Yeah, Mormons are very hard to understand the hierarchy with large amounts of children. And it was very, look, I found it fascinating in a positive way to watch because I had all levels of kids. I had some feral kids. I'd call these some of the kids I taught feral as well, if that's the word they want to use here. I had some that were just so unruly because the parents did not discipline their children. There was zero discipline. Parents didn't give a shit. They didn't listen to anything I had to say. It was so difficult. And then you had the kids that just hyper kids, and then you had the kids that were some of the kids were very timid, so they were very, they would just listen intently. I had every range, okay? But I had never dealt with the Mormon family of that many children, and to see the dynamic and how it worked. And they weren't yelled at, they weren't like scolded, like you could tell when the parents said something to them that they didn't recoil in fear, you know what I mean? I had another family of 5. In fact, she's the one that referred the family of 10. And she'd be out there and she'd be like, "Oh, where's my baby?" She had like a 1-year-old. And then you'd hear the son, "She's with me, mom," over there. She's like, "Okay, thanks." And she was like, "Man, when I had my first kid, I would check where my baby's at." It was just funny. But she's a very responsible mom. The kids were extremely responsible. They had their own loving, I don't know, it was just neat. It was neat for me to be able to experience that. This is different. This is different. Okay, so then another comment. Started at 15, sounds like grooming, brainwashing, and being a victim herself. Once you get locked into that, it's difficult to get out. Okay, these are people saying against Katie. Don't stray away from the fact that she was a child having multiple children. Having a child at 15 doesn't make you a capable and developed mother, especially coming from parents like these two. A person can be a victim and a perpetrator at the same time. See, exactly. See, why won't Katie listen to these people? Because she knows it all. People who are shocked by her not having the sense to not, quote unquote, do this to her children are assigning an identity to her that just doesn't exist. That is such a beautiful way of saying it. Look, you're assigning an identity to her that doesn't exist. She has been isolated, abused, and pregnant continuously for the past 20 years. If that's not abuse, I don't know what is. Stop it, Shu. Do they not understand your history? I've gotten him about Katie's videos too, because I don't have her blocked. Katie has no ears. And so then this one says, "Oh my goodness, she's pregnant. She looks so sickly herself. Those poor babies, my God." And Katie says, "Yeah, her eyes are horrible. I think she was crying. She looked less disgusting at her arraignment. Amazing what a shower can do." I need to find the one where somebody says she is a victim, and I think they put victim in caps, and then Katie said she is not a victim. She deleted that comment though. She deleted it. Did I already put this? Oh wait, it hasn't caught up yet on my end. Does no one understand how trauma affects the brain? Being a mom doesn't negate this. And to those of you who want to pound a flesh, this says more about you than the victims. And then this person responds and says that, and she was basically pregnant for 18 years straight. The hormones, and now we're learning it was probably more 20 years. The hormones from that alone changing constantly had to have had an effect. Plus, losing twins when they were 24 weeks old gestation had to have had affected things too. That was in 2022. Her last confirmed birth was January of 2025. All of these could severely affect her mental health. So many things to consider that people just aren't. It's sad. No, say what you're feeling, Donna. I appreciate your respect for my channel. That's why I respect y'all. That's why I love y'all. Say it. I'm cussing like a sailor over here. Say it, Donna. If you feel like it's gonna get my video taken down, then just paraphrase it. You be creative with your words. We can do that over here. We can be creative. And this person says, have more kids that you can afford. And I think they meant to say can't afford, but that just goes to show you they don't give a shit what they're typing. Yeah, short order cook. Katie would be better. You didn't type that. I said that. Katie would be better spending her time worrying about how to defend her 200 plus prior trash talk statements on things she doesn't know. Yes. And then I think I already showed this one where it says you're very uneducated on certain topics and for some reason fixated on the age gap. Okay, next one. More better. I said it. I thought that's what short order cook wrote. I'm just kidding. I just said it for whatever reason. I just said it. I said it. I own it. To be honest, this seems very complex. It looks like she might be a victim too. The grandparents are in this moment mentally impaired. The mother is pregnant again. They are talking about 20 to 21 pregnancies in 20 years. That many pregnancies cannot be healthy for her, neither physically nor mentally. And then someone says the thought of 20 years of pregnancy related hormones blows our mind. And then this person says she is a victim. So sad. Her parents should also be arrested. Aren't they his parents? I mean, her parents let her get married at 15, but if that's not unusual and it's legal, then what's the problem? I think they keep meaning to say his parents. Again, this just came out. People didn't really know what was happening. People had no idea what was going on. They just assumed, right? So we're going to make all these comments based on assumption. That's what I hate social media for, y'all. Maybe she could spend some time with her family and heal her fried brain a little bit. I know, Andrea Yates. That's not far from where I'm from. I believe they were in Clear Lake and I was in Houston. And when that happened, oh my gosh, I remember that. Mental illness combined with endless pregnancies. And it wasn't just mental illness. I mean, it was, but it was, she was failed by her doctors. There's a lot of that too. Andrea Yates was failed by doctors, mental health professionals, and her primary care or her OB-GYN. Yeah, the mom is pregnant now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's his parents because they have the same last name as him. Illness caused by so many pregnancies, no doubt. I mean, there's just so much going on here. We just don't know. I mean, that's my whole thing. We just don't know, y'all. I wish I could find the one comment that I came on here for. Did I not upload it? But nonetheless, it was a comment where someone said she is a victim, and Katie said she is not a victim, and did a bunch of exclamation marks. But again, she deleted it. It's no longer on her page. And I bet you if I went back to look at some of these would also be deleted. Yeah, that's right. It's a senior and a junior, duh. Right, Shu? I'm like, wait, thanks for correcting me. Yeah, it's a senior and a junior, so of course it's his family. He's the junior. The men are definitely related. Yes. Yeah. That is true. Similar to the Lindsay Clancy trial, starts July 20th for her similar situation as Andrea Yates. I have not followed that at all. I haven't. Katie loves to rage bait people. Yep, that's what she's doing here. Okay, so we already looked at the leave them alone. These poor children have been through enough. She's obviously a victim. She was a child when she was married to him. She was a child who gave birth at 13. You're just interested in content. Vile. Another round of applause for Carol. She was a child when she was married to him. She was a child who gave birth at 13. You're just interested in content. Vile. And earlier, Katie said she was not pregnant at 13, exclamation mark, arguing with one of her people because she didn't know all the details yet. Don't say shit as fact when you don't know, because it turned out that yes, she was. That she had a prior pregnancy due to all these children that she lost. And she might have lost it due to a DV situation. She might have lost it because she was way too young to even be able to carry a child. So many things we don't know. Yeah, how crazy would anyone go living in shit? I look forward to the day Ratjoy will have a much higher power. I'm telling you, as I'm going back through these statements, now we've gone through them. I'm going to go live again tomorrow, same time, 2:00 my time. It's 3:30 my time now, so whatever time it is yours tomorrow. I'll be going live at 2:00. But anyways, we're going to go over more of these statements, and we're getting into the bad ones. And I'm going to keep doing the videos where I do just, where we're just doing just the statements. And I will continue to read them. I got the feedback on that, and people are like, yeah, please read them so I can do shit while I'm while I'm watching and listen. And so I'm going to do that. And it's hard. It is so hard to just read them without giving all of my opinions and making the video be 4 hours versus 30 minutes, But I've already given my opinions. I give my opinions in other videos. I give my opinions on live stream. This is just to get the statements out for people to hear. And as I'm going through them, it's bad for Katie. It's bad. See, and then this person says it's been confirmed that she was 15 when she had her first child. But has it been? I don't know. Still, I mean, these were a few days ago. So my dog's snoring, y'all. Listen. Can you hear him? He's so cute. Of course, he gets quiet whenever I say it. You hear him? Okay. What is this? So here's another post. She did 3 posts on this on Instagram. I looked before I went live. She had not done any more, but she has done, I think, 2 videos on YouTube. And she said something. Somebody sent me a clip of it. Hold on. Let me see if I can just play it from my phone. Give me a second, y'all. Hang on. I'm trying to see. Trying to see if I can find this clip from her video. I haven't watched her videos. I cannot do it. I cannot.
And will struggle watching news media.
Okay, so this is something Katie Joy said on her video. And they sent it to me for a reason. Let me see if y'all can figure it out.
And will struggle watching news media like News Nation or some commentators that bring on people to interview is because you can bring on a forensic psychologist and they can speak to their experience. And will struggle watching news media like News Nation or some commentators that bring on people to interview is because you can bring on a forensic psychologist and they can speak to their experience will struggle watching news media like
So you heard that. She's basically saying that these psychologists don't know what they're talking about because they can only speak to their experience. No, dumb fuck. This is their education. Okay? This isn't just on their, you're the one that speaks on your own experience, and your experience is so limited, so sheltered down in your basement, guzzling wine. You're the one that is limited in your experiences, not a full-blown psychologist or psychiatrist who's been trained in this, not only trained in this, but has, oh God, I hate her. Let's listen to that again.
will struggle watching news media like News Nation or some commentators that bring on people to interview is because you can bring on a forensic psychologist and they can speak to their experience and will struggle watching news.
So yeah, trash bag. It says the trash bag who went on News Nation as a professional. Oh, y'all. This is why, okay, here's another clip that was sent to me. This is why I cannot wait for this case to be over, because I'm never going to speak on Katie Joy again unless something happens with Todd Chrisley. Todd Chrisley, you're failing us. I'm very disappointed in you, sir. Why have you not circled around to Katie Joy? But, you know, he acts like he has a very busy life or something happening over there. And he probably, I don't know. I still believe in my heart that he will. But nonetheless, if something like Todd Chrisley comes back around, or if she gets sued again by something, or if there's some criminal, you know, charges that ever come her way, yeah, I'll be there I'll be there for those things. But after this, I'm going to be done with Katie Joy. I cannot, for my mental health. I cannot even begin to fathom what it must be like to be in her existence. I just miserable. She is such a shit human being, in my opinion. Okay, here's another one. Oh, I think this one's different.
To find the evidence in court would be the more appropriate manner. You never want to become a part of the story by picking up charges because of a story. So let's move on to.
Do you hear that?
The evidence in court would be.
Okay, listen to that closely, y'all. You know, there's one thing that I've learned with Katie, and usually when she says something, it's what she's thinking or feeling, or it's her own experience.
To find the evidence in court would be the more appropriate manner. You never want to become a part of the story by picking up charges because of a story. So let's move on to.
You never want to be part of a story that will get you charges for that story. What does that tell y'all? Does that speak volumes to y'all too? I'm reading Shu's comment. Been watching Minute Man, maybe. Sorry, man, that just like all the letters just blurred together on that one. Mini Minuteman, who is an archaeology channel who debunks pseudoscience, and he talks often about people saying their Google research makes them equivalent to top of their field professionals. Fascinating. Yeah, hello, Todd. Knock, knock. In this case, a psychologist familiar with the area would be best. Maybe they were. Right? Katie Joy is just basically saying that News Nation just gets on shit people. That all they do is interview shit people. Well, Katie Joy, you were on News Nation as a quote unquote professional, as a cult expert. She was an investigative journalist that was talking about who is an expert in cults. You'll miss this channel when I'm gone. I'll keep the channel up, and maybe eventually I'll do something else, maybe with all my animals and stuff. We got our fence finished, y'all, a few days ago. Friday, I guess it was, to where now I have, so I can separate my pens, and I can separate animals into different pens. It's not covered or anything, so we got to work on getting another lean-to in one of my pasture parts of it. But my goal is to get more babies in the spring. So maybe I can, just talk about certain things. Because look, here's the thing. I don't think Katie Joy is going to ever stop being sued. I will talk about her lawsuits. It's weird for me to talk about stuff like this, which is outside of the lawsuit. I don't typically do it. But for her to say that this woman is not a victim because she herself has not called herself a victim pissed me off beyond belief. Because she is the one that has labeled Miranda a victim. And Miranda has said herself, she did say she's not a victim. So if Elizabeth comes out and says she's a victim, are you going to then say, okay, she's a victim? Or if she says she's not a victim, are you going to say, okay, she's not a victim? See, I don't believe that. She's going to say whatever she wants to say. She's going to say whatever her narrative is. But since Miranda came out and said she wasn't a victim, why don't we believe that? If she said she was a victim, Katie would be like, see, I told you, I was right. That's all this is about. It's about Katie being right. That's all it's ever about for her, is her being right. She cannot see or listen to what other people try to tell her. So here's another one she made. Fell down the Appalachian rabbit hole, learning about all the things about America's forgotten people, which is such a tragedy given how beautiful the region is. Family members of the Siders claim the abuse is generational and mountain living. I have not seen any evidence in what I've uncovered that proves that poverty equals abuse. And I can agree with her on that to some extent. I do not accept this as an excuse because being poor does not explain child torture and neglect and domestic violence. Okay, well, we don't know if there was child torture. See, this is the shit she does, saying these children were tortured. They were neglected. They were neglected. I guarantee they were neglected emotionally. Hang on one second. I think it's safe to say they were neglected emotionally. Like, how can you give all the emotional love to children when you have 16, right? But she's saying they're tortured. You know, they're hanging from the toenails and shit. You know, just like she was saying that Miranda and them were in locked to a wall somewhere in a room. We don't know. But I do agree that it's not an excuse, that being poor doesn't, exclude you from having to be held accountable for torture and neglect and domestic violence. But I do think that impoverished communities and areas, that their way of living is to such a different standard than what we're used to, that we can't say these kinds of things. These kind of statements just don't really hold. Yeah, basically Katie just gets to decide who is a victim and who's not. Yep. And Katie's going to say all the professionals are wrong. Yeah. Yep. I don't know, Gravy. See, that's the thing. Did she just equate mountain living with child abuse? Did she or didn't she? Like, the shit she says. Hang on, I got a call. Y'all can't hear me, right? That does mute me. Did it? Did it not? There are kids who can't speak. They were definitely heavily neglected. But yeah, I haven't seen any details of actual physical abuse yet. Yeah, and there probably was. It's possible. It's probable. We don't know. Torture, I don't think. But for me to be to have to live in that environment, that would be torture for me. But that's because I live I'm on a different. Yeah, I grew up differently. That would be tortures for me. That would be torture. But that's not what she's meaning here. We don't know yet. The highly funded system failed this family. I don't think it was a choice per se. I agree with that, Purple Rose. I absolutely do. They were failed. These children were failed. This mother was failed. Like, how do you have this many births and them not recognize that there's something not normal with her hygiene? Now, when you see pictures of her before, she looked very normal. This is something that happened over past few years. How many years? I don't know. Eventually they'll be able to determine that. To say that the family is bullshit and they need to be held liable is just so stupid to say, because this family, Katie even says in her video apparently that the family hasn't spoken out. The family has spoken out. There are family members that have spoken out, maybe not like immediate family members. Circumstantial abuse. Yes, absolutely. She applied for SSI and was denied. No, see, those are things that we'll start to see as more people talk about it, and as a story gets covered by people that actually want to speak the facts and not let their narrative not say certain things because it doesn't suit their narrative, right? So yeah, I'll be interesting. I'll start listening to more about this. I have a hard time when it comes to children. I have a very hard time following these stories. A lot of times I'll start and then I stop. But that's very interesting to hear that. Yeah, it's very, and sadly, it's common for an abuse victim to become complicit or even perpetrators of abuse when they feel compelled by their abuser. People praise women who take their kids out of, because it's hard. Can you imagine trying to remove 16 in 2024? You Googled it. Katie Joy, Google's your friend. Wow. So yeah, when did you see that they put that out? Is that like yesterday or today? Is that something they just put out? I haven't looked into the story yet today. I didn't have time. I just looked to see if Katie had posted anything else about it. I didn't look to see if there were any more details out. So I appreciate you giving facts or giving, well, I mean, I can't say they're facts, but I appreciate you filling us in on stuff and informing us on certain things. She says, Vinton County Sheriff's Office has described the rescue of 16 children as a case of prolonged, severe, and extreme intrafamilial child neglect and abuse. What does this mean in plain terms? And then, experts refer to this form of abuse as intrafamilial child torture. This is not incidental. This is not accidental. This is not born out of ignorance. This is a family that has chosen to deprive children of their most basic, y'all, I swear to God. This bitch. This is not born out of ignorance. This is a family that has chosen to deprive the children of their most basic necessities: food, clothing, education, safety, social interaction, and hygiene. Has this mother chosen that? We don't know. Was she locked in a room with them? And was it the rest of the family that had food and had windows that they could access? Was she and the children in a different area? We don't know these things. Was she only allowed out to go to the hospital and have her children? At least she was allowed to go to the hospital and have children. We don't know. We just do not know. So experts refer to this form of abuse as, okay, how do you know what this form of abuse is, Katie Joy? We don't know the details. Y'all, she pisses me off so bad. And then you get people that just agree with her and that just follow her lead. I doubt that if cell phones were hooked up. I was told that they were able to access social media, but maybe that was just, I mean, I don't know. Again, we just don't know. But we do know they had electricity and running water. Which, if you look in some of these photos, like this person went through this house. I was saying that earlier. Went through the house, y'all. And if you look at the bathtub, parts of the bathtub are clean, which means either somebody cleaned it or they never used it. Parts of the kitchen were wiped down and cleaned, but then there was stuff all over the floor, like hoarders in a way. So I don't know. We don't know. Could that have been picked up pretty quickly? I mean, it sounds like they were about to fall through the floor in certain areas, which is just horrible. How would you have your children in those situations? But if you have nowhere else to go and you don't know any better and the system is failing you, were they on any type of assistance, Purple Rose? Do you know? So all of them were born in just 3 Ohio hospitals. Wow. Yeah, she just jumps to conclusions. Obama phones are free. So they did get, I mean, so I'm assuming they had some assistance from the state. I worked for WIC as a nutritionist for a while, for not that long, maybe a year, right outside when I first graduated with my nutrition degree, I believe. I don't know when it was. But I can't imagine having a family like that come into WIC, be like, oh goodness gracious, it's a lot of resources I got to give you. That'd be a lot. The parents of Gary Jr. were on SSI, but she was not awarded SSI. I don't know if awarded is the right term. Yeah, I guess that's true. Do we know for sure that all the records line up? We likely won't know because of HIPAA. She will float this online and see if it catches. I bet $10. From my understanding, there was food in the house. I mean, was it spoiled? Could be. I mean, there were food wrappers everywhere, but that doesn't mean that they didn't feed some of the children. We know how that goes, unfortunately, in some of these situations where the parents are fat, fuck lards, like total fat, obese people, and their children are starved, and they made them eat. There was one case where the fat fuckers, and they made their kids eat animal feces. They were so ill. Some of them, I think one of them died by the time they got to them. The other one was so malnourished that they had brain damage, and the parents were fat fucks. So we don't know if they withheld food from certain children, like what, and we might not ever know what the illness is was a child in. I don't know if they said the child was in critical. I was reading another story yesterday about someone being in critical condition, so maybe I have that mixed up, but I do know that one of the children was in really bad shape. And is that a case of that child being the least favorite? So hold on, y'all. Is that a case of the child being the least favorite and they were being withheld, deprived of food? You just don't know. It blows. Well, I mean, I guess maybe she didn't get SSI because she didn't want the children to be diagnosed as disabled. So maybe she didn't, maybe she didn't get SSI because she never had the children seen. I mean, I wonder if these kids ever went to a doctor. The oldest ones might have at some point in their life. And then when all these other ones started to come along, probably none of them went. Huge amounts of vegetable oil. It also looked like some of the cartons and containers they had there in the house were from like a food bank. The oil was fed to the kids. That's what's speculating. Oh my gosh, I hope that's not true. Sorry, it was just said. The prosecutor just said government assistance. Again, I'm speaking on something I don't know enough about, so I'm just kind of having a conversation with you guys about like where the case stands and what the facts are of it. I'm not going to say any facts because I don't know any of it, but I can also say that Katie Joy doesn't know. And if facts come out that are different than what she's been saying or what she wants her narrative to be, she's going to say it's full of shit. Hey, Bo Roundtree, in 30 minutes, you'll catch up to me and you'll hear me say hi. She says she's 30 minutes behind, but the woman could just have hyperfertility, medical condition where woman was increased fertility, producing multiple fertile eggs every month. And I guess maybe as all the pregnancies, and maybe that's why someone was saying earlier, like they were surprised that Michelle Duggar didn't have more multiple births or pregnancies because she was pregnant nonstop. Turpin's had older kids who had attended a year or two of school. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering too, Shu. But the oldest didn't even know how to write their name. But it could be something that they did learn at some point, and then they never utilized it again, and so they forgot how. Possibly, I don't know if that's a thing at that stage in your life. Y'all, I've been on here 2 hours. How does that happen? I don't know how this happens. But here's the post that was underneath it. I'm going to read this and then we're going to hop off. It will come out that the children were hiding by choice, and KJ will look like an idiot. Neighbors have said children seen but would run away. See, look, Kennel Up Idaho. Hey, by the way, I tend to agree with that. That it's a possibility that these children chose to kind of hide, but that they weren't being confined to a room. And I think that's why the judge put a gag order on this, because I think they started to realize that some of these things have been put out there as facts are not true, and they wanted to stop it from keep going because there's children at stake here. So here's what Katie Joy had to say 2 days. Well, this is probably, I would have screenshotted this yesterday. So 3 days ago, what are both these, the posts that I've shown, the comments I've shown. Well, the posts were from 3 days ago. Having 16 children is a choice. Continuing to have children despite having no job nor ability to feed or care for them is a choice. That's not true. I disagree with that. But here's Katie, and I didn't get the comments from this because I'm sure people disagreed with her, but she deleted them by the time I saw them. Yeah, Shu, I see that. Family says they were cousins and knew each other, and she said she was leaving no matter what. KJ is just guessing and not fact-checking. Yeah, I mean, that's just what she does. This kind of trauma completely alters and stunts the development of the child. Brain pathways are, oh my I swear to God, y'all. I hate this woman. Brain pathways are formed in a constant state of trauma and lack of social interaction, and lack of social interaction impacts a child's ability to form attachments. Are you a doctor now? Oh wait, you've already said you're a doctor many times. You've already acted as a doctor many times, and you diagnose everything. This kind of trauma completely alters and stunts the development of the child. Brain pathways are formed in a constant state, and trauma and lack of social interaction impacts a child's ability to form attachments. We don't know. We don't know how long they've been in this situation. We don't know how some are affected more than others. There's 16 of them, for Christ's sake. Right now, the charges are child endangerment. These are placeholder charges. Oh, that's right. So now she's also a prosecutor, right? The case will go to a grand jury. If investigators can gain the trust of the children, they may learn the full scope of the depravity that they faced. Just say you don't know what the fuck you're talking about with saying you don't know what you're talking about. This is not poverty or parents that got in over their heads. It could be. Could be both. It could be. Me, myself, would this ever happen? No. But I had a different upbringing. I was in school. I had an education. Like I knew what I was raised in a very clean house, probably too clean, but like OCD parents, right? Okay, maybe it should have been a messy house. Nonetheless, everybody's upbringing is different. So she's saying this is not poverty or parents that got in over their heads. This is a system of abuse. You don't know that, Katie. Authority and severe neglect. You don't know that. It appears that it could be. The women may not have intended to harm their children, but remaining within the family contributed to the harm of children. Yes, it did. But did they have a way out? Did she have a way out? We can't say this until we know if she would have found a way out. We don't know. Y'all. Once a person becomes a parent and reaches 18, they are responsible to care for their children. Okay, well, she was 13, 15, 16, 17 when she gave birth, and 18. Okay? She was pregnant all those years. They are responsible to care for their children. No shit, Sherlock. Living in squalor, infested with roaches, bugs, covered in feces and urine. This is torture to a child. And I agree, that is torture to a child. Did she have a choice in that? Did he have a choice in that? Did the grandparents that lived in the home have a choice? You know, the grandparents of the children, did they have a choice in that? We don't know. They're going to do all types of assessment on these parents to see where they're at mentally and all that good stuff. And then a lot of it we shouldn't even know. I hope we don't, we don't. I hope this case kind of, what I hope is that this case stands as a protocol. It shows what and how so many children are being failed by the system, possibly, right? And then what areas might be more of an area that have been impacted, right? And that it stands for something that's going to help bring awareness. But I also hope that this story in itself fades away. Not that, and I say that so the children can have some dignity, because the internet's forever, right? So the children's future is not that highly impacted, because these things can be reversed to some degree. These children can get in better homes. They might be able to make this home a better home, and they, eventually that they're reunited with mom or whatever it may be. We don't know. It's going to take time in this situation. It's going to take a lot of time because they've got an investigation going on. They're not going to do anything until this investigation's done. Like, they've got a lot to do here, okay? But I'm hoping for the kids' sake, for their dignity, for their mental health, because their mental health is already so screwed up, that this case dies on the internet, that it fades away, but that they end up being healthy and have the ones that are able to be saved are saved. Everyone in that house was living in torture, and so that's the thing. I mean, mental health, when you're severely mentally unwell and mentally ill, you are tortured because you are trapped. You're trapped. You can't get out of this type of stuff. Why there wasn't any more help, I don't know. They had vehicles, didn't they? Like, they said he worked for DoorDash at some point. I wouldn't want him DoorDashing my food, but that's a weird thing for me to say, because he might not have appeared that way. I don't know. We don't know how this turned, what went down. But I hope it just stands as a point for people to use as a learning situation. KJ is a miserable person. She is, Purple Rose. I fully anticipate child torture charges. Oh, do you now? Because you know everything, right? You fully anticipate child torture charges as an upgrade. You also fully anticipated Robert Shin would have been indicted by December of 2025. Just because there was a stipulated agreement that gave until January 6th. You fully thought he was going to be indicted because a grand jury. You fully believed that Robert Shin was going to be indicted. There's not been an indictment. You have fully anticipated all kinds of shit that hasn't come true. What have you said about the Duggars and everything? Anyways, I'll shut up. I will not be surprised if sexual abuse charges are added. That's because that's your favorite topic, Katie Joy. Child SA is your favorite topic to talk about. Tell me I'm wrong. Just tell me I'm wrong. These children were hidden for a reason. We don't know that they were hidden. We do not know they were hidden. And we'll probably start to hear more from other people. More things will be coming out. They might not have been hidden. They might have been hidden. We don't know for a fact if they were hidden. I do not accept this as mountain life. I think to some extent it is. I don't think a situation would have gotten this bad, possibly, if they weren't in the mountain living. Mountain life, as Katie wants to call it. I've spoken to plenty of people. See, this is bullshit. See, this is what pisses me off about. Okay, I've spoken to plenty of people from this region who do not abuse their children under the guise of poverty. I bet she's spoken to one person. That's maybe two that have no true information to give her about this family, just about the region they're from. Doesn't mean it's from the same region or the same county. And I don't think that poverty, that you can hide under the guise of poverty, that abuse, for abuse. The smallest county in Ohio managed to stop the abuse of 16 children, where at least 3 other counties failed. Okay, and I think that's a true statement, actually. Don't tell me this is mountain people thing. Vinton County should be praised for their leadership and dedication to helping these kids. How long did they live in Vinton County? So should Vinton County be praised? Should Vinton County be praised? Should the people that showed up at this door recently be the ones that are praised that finally caught on to it? Is it Vinton County? How long have they lived in Vinton County? Have they had any resources provided to them through Vinton County? We don't know. Katie Joy doesn't know. Right. Bo Roundtree, I think Bo Roundtree's behind. She said earlier they were behind. We know. But when you hear this again, Bo Roundtree, I think that from what we're gathering, that she might not have had her first child at 15, that her first child might have been when she was younger than 15. Again, these are moving situations. These stories change. I don't know. Oh, they're from Vinton? I need to watch more. Again, like I said, I'll start to read into it and then I get distracted because that's just who I am. But also it's hard for me to watch when it comes to children. But this one I might be able to keep my focus on because I wonder about Elizabeth. And I'm curious about the parents. And I'm curious about him. I just hope the children are in safe places, that they've gotten, and I know that they have. But look, y'all, we can't sit here and act like a foster care is always the best place. A foster home is always the best place for children. We've seen a story recently where children were taken out of a foster home that were severely abused. We've heard of stories where young females were particularly sought after by certain foster parents because they essayed them, right? So do I believe that there are wonderful foster parents out there? Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to be like, for the good foster families that are out there that aren't doing it for the money from the government, but that are out there for the actual well-being of the family. I praise them like that. That is a lot. That is a whole lot. It's a lot to do. And so, let me see something real quick, y'all. Sorry, got distracted. So anyways, I hope that the kids have a full belly, getting a good night's sleep in a cozy bed, right? And same for Elizabeth. But from what I'm understanding, from what her attorney says, and it may or may not be true. I'm not saying it's true or not true, right? I'm certainly not going to say it's true or not true, but she might not even be worried about she might not be able to sleep because she's away from her kids and she's so scared about her kids Like we said earlier, hence why she never left. But they were avoiding truancy charges for the oldest children. So somebody is aware enough mentally because they moved them. They were escaping from something. Obviously, charges. So there's that, you know. And she very well could be the mastermind in this with him. We don't know, but okay, so my whole point in this is I'm not willing to do that right now. Why? Because we don't know all the answers. We don't know the details. We do not know. It's not all out there yet. Katie Joy acts like she gets all this like special information because somebody from the area is going to call her and tell her something. And then she's going to twist it, right? See, I also heard that maybe that his Gary Jr. like exposing himself. See, like that's another thing. Like we got to learn about all of that too. What's that all about? How many people did he affect? How like was he like? How often did he do this? Like was it every day? It never should have happened once, but you catch my drift, right? There's so many things we need to learn about this. But my whole point was Katie Joy saying in one of her posts, like in comments, I don't have that comment here, but somebody said you should do a video about this. And Katie said, "Oh, I don't think I'll be doing a video about this unless I get some information from people in that area." And then oh, you know what? That's right. He pees outside. That's right. He was pissing off the porch. Is that what he was got indecent exposure for pissing off his own porch? See, there's so many things we don't know, y'all. Look, with that said, my husband would be my husband. I'm like, babe, we have bathrooms in our house. But we live on many, many acres, and if anybody were to see him, they would have to have like very, 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 very high powered binoculars. Okay. So with that said, my husband doesn't just go places and piss off their porch or piss outside, right? He's you know, what's the word I want to use? But anyways, they also showed what the toilet looked like in that house, and apparently it was backed up. And how long it had been. Had there always been feces on that floor and urine on the floor, or did they have a backup and with 16 kids and they couldn't afford to get it fixed, and before you know it, boom, it's like it's overdone like that. I mean, were the kids, see what I'm saying? There's so many things we just don't know. Weed killer. The family was, there's so many things. Like they did choose, they chose that, but on what level of knowledge do they know better? But again, they obviously knew better to move and avoid charges of truancy. I agree. That wasn't 4 years of trash from 20 people. I question if it was just even a month, a couple months worth of trash from 20 people. I agree. See, there are so many things we do not know. But for Katie Joy to say that she's not willing to call her a victim because she herself won't call her a victim is what made me so mad, and what brought me here to talk about this, because we don't know. We don't know. She very well could be. And then what? If everybody had that attitude towards her, she'll never get help. Y'all, she infuriates me. Okay, here I did it again. 2 hours and 20 minutes, way past the time I wanted to do. But it was so great catching up with all of y'all, talking about something a little bit different. I will be live tomorrow. Yep, I agree, Purple. Oh, y'all, my husband, we went to renew our TSA, being TSA approved, because we fly out in a couple weeks. And so my husband just sent me a message and he was like, "Man, I just stepped back into 1997. That office was depressing as fuck." Totally forgot he had his appointment at 4:20. Anyways, So I'll be live tomorrow. We'll go over more of the statements. We'll catch up. We'll chat some more. But it was great seeing y'all. You guys have a wonderful day. Stay cool, whatever it may be, wherever you're at. And I will catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.
It don't take a crystal ball to know how some stories end. When someone keeps saying opinions like facts, the courts start listening. Southern mutton don't predict nothing, we just watch and write it down. Don't need a crystal ball to see it coming back around. When you state it like a fact and never check it first. Southern mutton watch it close from the courthouse ground. True stay patient while the paper getting worse. Same routine, new headline phone. Same bold claims that the record don't want. She speak real loud, no maybe, no seems. Turn opinions into facts like the courtroom clean. I ain't wishing nothing, I just seen the signs. When the words outrun proof, it's a matter of time. History repeat when you don't learn yet. Courts don't care what you meant, just what you said. When confidence louder than evidence be, that's when patterns start explaining things to me. Don't need a crystal ball to see it coming back around. When you speak like a verdict before the truth's found. Southern mutton in the case, boots firm on the tile. We don't chase drama, we just watch the file, yeah. Country rap calm, I don't glow to grin. I just read the docket when it rolled back in. She called it truth, call it just how it is. But courts draw lines where the talking ends. I ain't psychic, I'm observing. Facts don't bend cause a voice is urgent. From testimony tone to the written page. Same outcome when the pattern don't change. Lies like speed, truth like distance. One burns fast, one keeps existing on. Lies like speed, truth like distance. One burns fast, one keeps existing. Don't need a crystal ball, don't need belief. When the law still runs on proof and receipts. Southern mutton watching through the courtroom glass, pointing out lies as they're saying it's facts. Yeah. This ain't prophecy, this ain't hate, just history watching itself repeat. When words get reckless, the courts get busy, and the truth always shows up right on time.